Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Designs by Dana. I'm Dana and I'm also a close to my heart maker. Thank you so much for joining me. I know it has been a while since I've been back on my channel. I've been really busy taking some art classes and just catching up on life. So I appreciate you being here. I am working on a sketch today. This is a sketch. I'm working on Christy's Beautiful Life 30-day sketch challenge is this month in October. This is day 2. This sketch is created by Jessica Fenn Hill. I really like this sketch. I like the design of the corners being kind of torn, cut out. I did struggle to find 6 photos that I could fit on this layout. I started to just do the 3, but I did find 6. Let me bring in my photos and I will show you what I have. Now, I'll tell you that I did start to do this layout not planning to do a video, and then kind of decided to do a video as I got far into it. So a lot of the work has been pre-done. So with my photos, I already have them trimmed down and matted. So these are pictures of my daughter. Actually, it was a kind of a daddy-daughter day while I was out of town working. They got to go to the zoo, and my daughter Jordan, her favorite thing to do at the zoo is to play with the goats. So the goats are her kind of, I don't know if her favorite animal, but it's her favorite thing to definitely do at the zoo. So she loves to play with the goats, feed the goats, pet the goats, and everything. So I wanted to capture her with the goats. And here she is feeding this ornery goat and then another goat up here. And this guy gave her a really good little pose here. So they ended up working out really well for this particular layout. So like I said, I have a lot of the work pre-done, but we'll walk through everything that I've done and putting the layout together. So let me get this all out of the way and bring in all of my supplies and we'll get everything done. We'll be right back. Okay, so I've brought in my base page, and this base page is just a really nice kind of wood grain pattern. Now, for this layout, I was inspired by the paper packet, The Good Life, that Close My Heart was the featured paper packet in September. But it is still available as of the time of this recording. However, I only used just a few pieces actually from that paper packet. This sheet came from a older mix-ins paper packet, so it's got these really nice wood grains on both sides. But what I want to do with this before I get too far into the layout is I want to do some splattering on here. So I'm going to bring in my Mocha shimmer brush, and just gonna shake that up just a little bit to make sure it's good and kind of primed, inked up. And I like to use my bone folder. You can use a ruler, whatever you want. And keeping in mind that my corners are going to be covered here, so I really just want to cover this kind of centerpiece here. I'm going to just kind of add, and it looks like I need to get that a little bit. I'm just got a piece of scrap here that I'm gonna squeeze that on and get some more liquid down here. I don't like to get it too juicy because then sometimes I get some real big blobs of shimmer, and I don't want that, but I definitely do want it to be able to see. There's a big one. I want it to be able to show up, but I don't want them to be too incredibly big. So hopefully I can get that one covered up. So that looks perfect. Find my cap and we'll get that put away. And I'm just going to pull this back out and let that dry for a second. So I want to bring in, what I'm using for my corners is some Irresistible paper. So this was a piece I cut to 8 by 8 and then I tore it down. So if you have not used our Irresistibles before, since I did this all off camera, I wanted to at least show you how they work because these are awesome. They come in a pack, I think of 12 or I think it's 12 sheets. And they're basically white cardstock with a layer of UV protection, and they have lots of different patterns. Now this is of course the plaid, but they come with polka dots, flowers, all kinds of patterns. And then you use your blending brush or whatever tool that you'd like to use, and you rub that in your ink, and then as you bring that ink into your paper, you get that nice resist technique. And of course, then you can make any color of pattern paper that you want. And you can even blend in multiple colors if you want to. So it's an awesome way to create your own color of pattern paper. So I'm using the Harbour ink for this particular project. And what I do when I have it all inked up, I bring in a paper towel and then just give it a little bit of rub to kind of rub the ink off of the resist part, almost like embossing, but I'm rubbing the ink off just to make it pop a little bit more. So where that white resist is, I'm taking the ink, any residue off, and that just makes it pop out just a little bit more. And it doesn't pull up a lot of ink, but just a little, just enough to give it that nice pop. And that's all there is to it. Super, super simple, but it gives you just unlimited possibilities of what you can do with these papers. So that's what I did, and I just wanted to show you that since I had pre-done that all off camera. Okay, so let me get this out of the way, and by now our base page should be nice and dry. So I'm going to bring in my Versamat and bring that base page back in with all of our nice splatters, and we can start to dry fit everything out. So of course I have everything pre-cut, and we'll bring that sketch back in just so we can kind of see what we're working with. And I kind of actually held pretty true to the sketch with this one. So I've got my corners here. What I did is I brought in this little piece here. I just brought in some Mocha cardstock. So I'm going to lay that under each piece, kind of like that. And then we'll just trim off the little excess pieces. So we're going to look just like that. And then I've got my photos. So this layout is relatively simplistic. What makes this layout for me fun, of course, is the embellishing. And if you guys have watched any of my other videos, you know that the embellishing is my favorite part. So these pieces here are the pieces I cut from the Good Life paper packet. And I'm just going to tuck these tags under these two little sections here. And that's pretty much the dry fit. So where the fun comes in is the embellishing. So I'm going to pull in my little dish of embellishments, and we'll start laying all of that out. So I used a couple of stamp sets, and actually I have one I still want to stamp. So first let me talk about this one. This is the On the Farm stamp set in thin cuts. And I bought this one quite some time ago. When I saw it, I knew I wanted it. I didn't know what I would use it for at the time. And I've never used it until now, but I used the goat. I finally got to use the set, so I was super excited about that. I know this is one that will be evergreen for me, and I'll get to use it for a long time with all the different farm animals, but I finally got to use my goat, and it has the thin cut, so that was super awesome. So I cut out 3 little goats, and I stamped this one in Mocha, and then I just used my water brush to pull in the ink from the original stamp and just added some little blending. So I've got a little brown one to go up here, and then I have a couple black ones that kind of ended up looking a little gray, and we're gonna put those down here. Okay, so I also have, pull out some little fence pieces here from the Good Life embellishment packet, the compliments, we have these compliments, and they have the little die cut fence pieces. They also have some arrows in here that I'm going to use as well. So what I did is I pulled those out, and this is the one that you can see came out of the packet, and you can see they're very light in the tan kind of gray neutral color. So I wanted them to pop out a little more, and you can see the difference in the color there. So the way I did that is I'm going to pull in some scrap paper that we're going to use here, and I just added the color with my markers. So I'm going to use the brown, they're actually the gold brown blend and the gold brown shade. So I'm using the darkest color of the gold brown blend. And you can see I already have foam tape on these, so you know exactly what I'm going to do, because you guys know me and I love my foam tape. But I am coloring this with the gold brown, and I'm just adding some darkness to these. And what I like about this particular process is I can still see that wood grain through my marker. But the alcohol markers work so well on these die cuts that I can color them essentially any color I want. And we're going to see some more of this when I do my title. So definitely stay tuned for that, because we're going to color my part of my title in with some blue to tie in with my browns and blues, kind of my theme I've got going here. So, but I wanted you to see how I did this process. So I'm just going to color this in here, and it's super easy. Like I said, and these are really thick because they're kind of chipboard-ish. Well, they are really chipboard. So they can hold a lot of ink. So you can add layers and add layers. But what I wanted to do, and I don't know if you can tell, but the vertical posts here are just a little bit darker shade, just to give them a little bit more depth and dimension. So that's where the gold brown shades comes in, and I'm using that to just darken up these posts just enough so that I've got a slight variation of color here to make them look just a little darker, make them stand out a tad bit more, give them a little bit more realistic look. So you can see how easy that is. It doesn't take a lot of time, but just gives that a little extra oomph, I guess, a little bit extra realisticness to those fences. So this one's gonna kind of go down here. We got to have these goats, you know, contained in their little fence areas, right? We can't have the goats running around wild. So we're gonna fence them in. I love this one where it's got the broken fence. Adorable. So I also pulled some things from the Good Life sticker sheet. And so if you haven't seen this paper packet, take a look at it. It is just adorable. I love the blues and the browns. And this is the sticker sheet. You can see I've cut out some things and used some different pieces, but I love combining everything together. So I've got some little pieces, kind of some subtitles that I thought I might use. And let's see, let's pull all these out. I've got Happy Place, because, you know, this is her favorite place of the zoo. Homegrown Happiness, I thought could maybe come down here somewhere. And I don't mind putting stickers right on my photos either. So I'm thinking maybe something like that. And then I thought these two could kind of go up here. So let's just dump all this out. What I have, the rest here is basically some pieces to go with my title. And I keep forgetting. I don't want to forget that I have some stamping on here I wanted to do on the space page. So I've got some arrows that I stamped. And there should be another one in here, but maybe oh, here it is. Again, I went ahead and add color to these arrows. So I added the brown, and then I added blue to these. And then I've got my title here. So I wanted to show you how I did my title. So this is the die cuts, and these are the wood grain titles. And you can see it's got all these different words. So originally I had laid out my title was Happy Days. Again, it's a happy day. And I had to work on this and then leave it alone and finish it today. So as I lay in bed, because I suffer from insomnia, I'm laying in bed, you know, thoughts run through your mind, and I'm thinking about this layout, and I thought, well, I'm gonna change that to the goat life. And I thought that was a kind of a fun spin on the good life. Excuse me. So I decided to do that. And so I pulled out the word life from that set I just showed you. And then for the word the, I have these really old keyboard alphabet stickers, and I just put them all on one little piece of white cardstock to make them a little one word. And then, if I could spell correctly, I used my wood grain alphabets for the goat. And I just, the O in here, let me show you. It has that little curly Q. I didn't really care for it on here, so I just snipped it off. So no big deal. And I actually, the more I'm looking at it, I think I might come in and snip off the insides of that too, just to make it more of a plain rounded O. So don't be afraid to, you know, alter things up. And that looks a little wonky. So I'm just gonna come in with my fingernail file a little bit. I might do more of this off camera to clean it up, but it's not bad, and I'm fine with it. It's just an O. So I like that actually better. So what I'm gonna show you now is just how I colored my blue thing. So here I'm going to use, this is the true blue shades, and I'm using the medium shade on that. And I'm going to just do the same thing. Now this is a darker color, so you're not going to get as much of the wood grain to show through. But for the title, I'm not as concerned about needing the wood grain, because obviously on the fence, I would want some of that wood grain to show through. And my little guest presenter, kitty cat here, is wanting to be on camera as well. So she hasn't been around lately, so she's, I guess, feeling the need to say, hey, I'm here. So I'm gonna do a couple of these. I don't think I need to do them all on camera, because you get the idea if you've not seen this before. But if you haven't played around with coloring your die cuts, know that they color really well. And they're so thick that you can add lots of layers of color if you need to. Or, you know, in my case, you just add one layer and you're good. So I think the last thing I want to do before I start gluing down is using this stamp set, which is the Good Life scrapbooking stamp set. It comes with die cuts. I intended to order it with the die cuts when I placed this order, and I just made a mistake. So I just have the stamp set, and I don't mind fussy cutting, but some people do. So I got it, I've used it and had to fussy cut, but in this case, I'm gonna stamp right on here. And what I wanna do is stamp this windmill, and I thought it would be cute just to kind of have it in the background, real faint, kind of sticking up over in this area. So I'm gonna just, now that I have this all laid out, I don't really need all this on here anymore, because this is kind of a dry fit. I'm gonna pull this up and just draw a little bit of a line. Actually, I might need that photo mat, but I'm just going to draw a line here to know where this piece is going to go, and then put this back on here, and I want to know about where this is going to go. So that's going to help me place my stamp. So I can get all of this out of the way. And I've got my stamp here, and I'm going to use Harbour ink, but I want it to be kind of faint. I don't want it to be real bold and bright, so I'm going to do a second generation stamp, and just put that kind of in the background, almost like it's already on my pattern paper in the background. So just going to stamp it once there and let it, I'm even thinking about doing it twice just to kind of make it look like it's part of the pattern paper there. Yep, just like that. That's all it needs. So as we put this back on here, just gives my background just a little bit more interest there as we build this up. So I think that will look real good with my title here. So let me get all of this glued down and put back together, and then we'll come back and take a final look at the finished layout. Okay, I am back with the finished layout. The only other thing I added is some liquid pearls. I brought in my dark blue liquid pearls and added just a few dots here, you know, just around some of my cluster spots. And just added those for a little extra dimensional interest. So I love this layout. I hope you guys do too. You can see I've got all my dimension that I love to add. I love how my little fences pop up and keep my little goats in place. My subtitles are popped up. I did not pop up my title. The reason I didn't is because if I had popped anything up, I would have wanted to pop up the word goat and leave the rest flat. And this is such a thin word that it would have been difficult to pop up. So I left it flat. But I really love how that turned out. And the different kind of coloring in those different words really makes that goat pop out. And the only thing is, I hope people don't think it's the greatest of all time, but I think you get the idea with the goat pictures and the little cute goat stamps. So I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I'm so thrilled with how this turned out. And I also, funny story, as I was gluing this down, I realized I said I couldn't spell when I was putting it down, and I still had it in the wrong order. So I can spell eventually. I just can't spell and talk at the same time, apparently. So if you liked this, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, consider doing that. I don't always post as often as I'd like to, but when I have time, I certainly do get on here and get some videos up. So I appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching the video today. If you have any questions, put those in the comments. Let me know what you like, and I'll be happy to get back to you. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.